Einen wunderschönen. Herzlich willkommen zurück zu einer weiteren Folge von Lamplight City und ich bin völlig ratlos gerade, denn ich habe das Gefühl, ich kann hier nichts
Honey, I'm
weitermachen.
home. You know, I've always wanted to say that.
Seeing you come home always puts a smile on my face.
Ah, ich rede mal mit ihr, vielleicht hat sie irgendeinen Hinweis, keine Ahnung.
Addie?
What is it, Miles?
Oh,
Was Desiree Lathan a client of yours by any chance?
No, but plenty of the other grand dames used to gossip about her.
okay.
What sort of things would they say?
Usually they'd comment about how much she'd had to drink the night before. I got the impression she was quite the tippler. I hope you're not planning on following her example.
That would require me to burn to death in our bed.
Then I stand by my previous statement.
You've got an appointment with Charlotte Robineau later today, don't you?
Are you using your detecting skills on me now?
I spoke with her at the Gascon Supper Club, and she mentioned you. Turns out she knew Desiree Lathan.
Makes sense. That social circle is tiny.
She wasn't very forthcoming, though. Do you think you might try and persuade her to talk?
Persuasion shouldn't be necessary. She usually just sits in the chair and starts gossiping up a storm. I think I know more about all the Gascon grand dames than anyone should.
That's good. That's very good. Right. These are the things I want you to ask her about.
So you want me to take off about an inch, but keep enough for your curls?
Yes, that's right. You know how I like it, Adelaide.
Oh. Neue Verehrer ins Auge gefallen. Wie war der Ball der gehobenen Gesellschaft?
Has anyone special caught your eye recently?
No, I think I'm getting too old for most of the young pups I see around these days. Besides, marriage has proved to be more trouble than it's worth. I'm finished with that whole game. Although there was one fellow who came into the supper club today. Pity he was only interested in asking questions.
Oh?
Yes, the dark brooding type. Sleepless nights etched all over his face. Still handsome, though. I invited him to join me for a drink, but he refused.
Yes.
Said it was too early to be drinking.
Is that so?
Life is too short to be so uptight.
Probably for the best he didn't join you for that drink then. How was the Grand Dame's ball? Was your hairdo a hit?
Oh, it was. All those other old biddies were practically fainting with jealousy. Truth be told, though, the evening was rather dull. Just the regular crowd of wags and gossips. You know, sometimes I envy people like you, Adelaide.
Okay.
People like me.
Yes, you know, ordinary people.
Ach so.
Being a member of high society can be so draining. One quite lacks a sense of purpose, of ordinary honest usefulness that comes from a good day's labor.
Have you done much of that sort of labor yourself, madam?
What? No, of course not. But I imagine it must be quite good for the soul, quite grounding. Just being what you are. No airs or pretense. Oh, you've missed a bit there on the left ear. Do be sure it comes out even.
Certainly, madam.
Okay, warte mal.
I have to say, your musical selection for today is lovely.
It's nice to know someone like you can appreciate some of the
Jemand wie
finer points
Sie.
of culture. In case you were wondering, the piece is the Fourth Symphony by a composer named Theophilus von Wagner.
Yes, it's refreshing to hear the Fourth Symphony for a change. Most people know von Wagner for his Fifth Symphony or his Lute Concerto in D minor.
Oh, you know von Wagner?
Oh, na klar.
Although I admit he isn't one of my favorite Baroque composers, I can appreciate what he brought to the movement. I'm more in favor of Scaravaldi. His development of the Concerto Grosso makes for a much richer musical tapestry. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, well, perhaps so.
Do you have any favorites among Scaravaldi's works?
His First Symphony is quite riveting.
Do you mean his Concerto for Mandolin? He didn't have a First Symphony as such.
Well, yes. That's what I meant.
Bam!
As much as I enjoy chatting, perhaps you should concentrate on what you're doing, dear.
Voll in die Kandare gefahren. Horizonte tun sich auf als Achievement. Das sieht man ja da. Ist ja voll in die Kandare gefahren.
I was reading in the paper this morning about what happened with Desiree Lathan. Did you hear about that?
Oh, such a tragedy. Poor Desi. We hadn't talked in a long time, but how terrible to think of her dying in such a horrible way.
My condolences.
Thank you, dear.
Did you and Desiree used to be friends?
Oh, we were like sisters at one point.
What happened?
What else? A man got involved.
You were both after the same man?
No, quite the contrary. We both enjoyed being unattached and had vowed to keep it that way. The spinster sisters, we used to call ourselves. But I fell for a man a few years ago. We got married, and Desiree stopped speaking to me.
That's a shame.
Yes, especially considering the marriage only lasted a few brief months. I lost both my husband and my best friend. I'm sure there's a lesson to be learned in that.
Das Porträt, genau, Moment.
I heard someone mention that Desiree had her portrait painted recently.
Yes, I heard that too. I think it was Caroline who told me. Yes, that was it, Caroline. She was looking for a portrait artist and told me Desiree had found one. Roger DeVay, I think she said his name was.
Roger DeVay? Sounds mysterious. Who is he?
Well, I don't know about mysterious. He's just an artist. Not a very good one either, from what I hear.
He didn't do a good job on the portrait?
Oh, no, he did fine. I just meant he hasn't really taken off. His paintings aren't worth very much, you see.
Ach so.
But Desiree took a liking to him very quickly. Even went as far as giving him an extra key to her apartment.
Okay.
If there was anything more going on between them, I couldn't say. But she could have done a lot better, if you ask me. I mean, he's barely even an artist now. I heard he took a teaching position at the university. Now, who would want their likeness immortalized by a lecturer?
I see. Well, I hope he makes it in the world someday.
Miracles may happen.
An der Universität. Warte mal.
Quite chilly out today, isn't it?
Yes, a good day for spending indoors.
Probably means we'll be getting an earlier winter.
It's a good thing I bought a new set of coats then.
Okay.
Good. I think that's all finished.
Thank you, Adelaide. It was a pleasure, as always.
Ebenso.
Likewise, Miss Robinow. I'll see you next week.
Nächste Woche schon. Wie wachsen die Haare
And she
denn?
didn't tip very well either.
I'm sorry, dear. She sounds positively dreadful.
No more than the other Gascon Grand Dames. I just hope you managed to get something useful from that.
Oh ja, wir haben was sehr... Also erstmal hat es mich absolut weitergebracht, weil ich war echt schon verzweifelt. Ich wusste nicht, wie das Spiel weitergeht.
Time for me to get some things done.
I wish you'd let me fix your hair before you go out like that.
It'll be fine.
Weil ich dachte schon, das Spiel zwingt mich jetzt, weil ich irgendwas falsch gemacht habe, dazu etwas zu beschuldigen, was ich nicht glaube, was richtig ist. An die Universität von New Bretagne. Bretagne, wie auch immer. Ich spreche das sowieso falsch aus. Ach, guck an. Wie immer gucken wir uns erstmal um.
All the tools an artist would ever need. Brushes, pieces of canvas, paints. There's also several jars full of clear liquid. Interesting.
Ölfarbe. Oh, guck mal da oben.
These aren't half bad. Nice to know the students aren't completely wasting their time here. These aren't half... Well, so much for modesty. Ooh, is it warm in here or is it just me?
Hier ist sogar eine Kerze zum Anstrahlen. Ist ja cool. Die triggern wir nicht.
Where dreams go to die. Huh. This is linseed oil. It's used as a drying agent for oil paintings. It would be a good idea to take a sample of this, Miles, especially now that nobody's looking.
Wir testen mal kurz was. Ich glaube, wir haben unser Reagenz gefunden. Ich mache mal schnell Durchlauf hier. Ich glaube, wir haben es gefunden.
Now that we've got some linseed oil, it's probably worth testing.
Ui. Ui. Und orange.
Well, I'll be damned. We've got ourselves a match. I wonder if Edwards knows anything pertinent about this stuff.
Pardon me, Edwards.
Yes,
What do you know about linseed oil?
it's an oil made from flaxseed that has many uses. Most commonly, it's used to dry things like varnish or oil paints. Some people even eat it for health benefits. I hear it goes well with a bit of quark.
And it's flammable?
As most oils are, yes. Where are you going with this?
The oily residue on that rag is linseed oil.
Fascinating.
But I found no trace of anything used to light a fire at the crime scene.
Uh-oh, he's getting that gleam in his eye.
Wait just a moment. Linseed oil? Of course! Anytime linseed oil is used, extreme caution must be taken to dry cure rags that may be soaked in it. That's because when linseed oil dries and oxidizes, it releases heat. A pile of rags soaked in linseed oil in a confined space runs the risk of spontaneously combusting.
How long would this take exactly?
A few days, at least.
Interesting. It's a rather uncertain means of murder, but it's excellent for appearing accidental.
It's certainly not the most far-fetched conclusion you've ever come to.
Aber es ist der naheliegendste
Thanks.
bisher.
That's all I needed to know for the moment.
Anytime, Fordham.
Und er hat einfach nur gewartet, bis sie das Testament ändert. Das ist es. Ich glaube, wir müssen ganz schnell ein sehr intensives Gespräch führen. Und zwar vielleicht sogar ein finales Gespräch. Dazu, wie immer, Kare und Aber.
Excuse me.
Yes,
Are you Roger DeVay?
I am.
Miles Fordham, private investigator. I have some questions for you if you aren't too busy.
Will this take long? This isn't exactly the best time.
It shouldn't, no.
All right then, quickly.
How long have you been teaching at this university?
About 4 years now.
And do you also earn money with your painting?
Not of late. I haven't sold a painting in some time. But my salary from the university is enough for the time being. Perhaps someday I'll be able to devote the proper focus to my painting.
Seit 4 Jahren ist er schon hier und lebt teilweise auf der Straße? Verstehe ich nicht.
Do you know Desiree Lathan?
Desiree? Yes, of course I know her. What happened to her was just awful.
Indeed. My condolences, Mr. DeVay. What can you tell me about her?
She was a wonderful woman. Sharp, full of life, extremely witty. I only knew her for a short time, but I consider myself lucky to have had her as a friend.
How did you two meet?
We were introduced at a party and became fast friends. It's hard to believe she's really gone.
You painted Desiree's portrait, is that right?
Yes, I finished it just a few months ago.
Do you often do commissioned work?
Sometimes, but this wasn't exactly a commission, more like a gift.
You mean you weren't paid for it?
No, I didn't do it for money. It was an honor just to paint her.
I see. And did she like the result?
Well, she had it hanging in her bedroom and not in her attic, so I assumed she liked it well enough.
It was a rather nice portrait, I must admit.
Oh, so you've seen it?
Indeed, I have. Regrettably, I can't comment on the likeness, never having seen the subject in life.
Ah, yes. Well, she used to say that standing in front of it was like looking into a mirror. I tried my best to do her justice.
Do you have any information regarding Desiree's death?
No, none at all. It came as a total shock. I heard she was burned to death. Oh, is that true?
It is.
It's really just unthinkable.
Do you know of anyone who might have wished harm upon her?
No, everyone loved her. To think someone could be capable of doing that to her, it just makes me feel sick.
Is it true that Miss Lathan recently changed her will to make you her beneficiary?
Yes, you can imagine my surprise.
My understanding is she left you quite a significant sum.
I don't see how that's any of your business, but yes, she did. I'm very lucky. Oh, I see what you're getting at. You're thinking I killed her for her money. Is that it?
I never said anything of the sort, Mr. DeBay.
No, but I can see it in your eyes. Look, Desiree considered me the son she never had, and she was like my second mother. I would never, ever even think of doing something so horrid.
Der tickt aber aus.
I'm sure he wouldn't.
I'll let you get back to your class.
Right.
Der tickt aber gerade aus.
Probably best not to disturb his class if you've got nothing new to ask about.
Er tickt aber aus. Was ist, wollen wir mal gucken, ob wir was zu ihm finden?
Got a moment, Upton?
Yes, but let's make this quick.
Nee.
That's it for now.
Better get back to it then.
Wo kriege ich Hinweise zu ihm? Ich brauche von ihm Hinweise.
May I ask you some more questions?
Sure, I ain't going nowhere.
Tell me about Roger's artistic pursuits.
Well, I ain't much to tell, really. He used to paint all the time when he had his studio in the building that used to be here. He was good at it, too. Shame nobody ever bought his paintings. All that's left now are those two unfinished ones against the back wall there. We used the rest of his spare canvas to make the tent.
How did Roger feel about his paintings not selling?
Well, how do you think? Made him madder in the March air. Didn't do a very good job of hiding his displeasure either. At least none around me. He always used to say he'd find some way or another to make the money he deserved.
Ah.
He told me he was content with the salary he got from his teaching job.
That's a load of bunkum if I ever heard it. Truth is, old Roger's about as poor as Job's turkey. He'd do anything to make a quick crown.
Well, now, that's certainly interesting.
I thank you for your time.
Well, it's fitting that Mr. DeVay is an artist, because I think he's painted us a pretty clear picture of what happened to Miss Lathan.
Verdächtiger notiert. Wir können ihn beschuldigen. Pass auf. Wir probieren was. Mein Lieber. Du bist fällig.
Probably best not to...
Okay, dann probieren wir es mal. Wir können ihn als Verdächtigen jetzt anschwärzen.
Got a moment, Upton?
Yes, but let's make this quick.
I'm done with the Lathan case.
Oh? What have you got?
She was murdered by Roger DeVay, a professor of art at the university, in order to claim her inheritance. DeVay befriended Miss Lathan and even painted her portrait, but his failure to establish a name for himself and to earn a living from his art was driving him mad. Miss Lathan cared for him as a son, and recently changed her will, naming Roger as her sole beneficiary. Roger knew of this, and decided killing Miss Lathan was the best way to solve his financial troubles.
And how did he manage to do so?
Desiree had given him a key to her apartment. While she was out at the Grand Dame's ball, he entered and left a pile of rags soaked in linseed oil under her bed. She arrived home drunk and passed out, unaware that the rags were growing hotter by the minute. Eventually, the oil burst into flames, burning the rag pile as well as poor Miss Lathan.
How awful. Well, I'll certainly pass along the information. What an astounding series of events. Although I'm sorry you won't be able to gloat to Snelling that you solved the case before his detectives did.
I can find other means of amusement, I think.
Good work, Fordham. As usual, I'll send anything else your way as soon as I get it.
Yes, sir. Die Kunst
Roger
des
DeVay?
Mordens.
Yes, what is it?
You're under arrest for the murder of Desiree Lathan.
Oh, I see.
Come with me. We need to ask you some questions at the station. And you up there, make yourself decent, would you?
Dearest, I'm back.
Oh.
There you are. I was starting to get worried you wouldn't make it home in time.
In time? In time for what?
For dinner at the Rutherfords. I told you about it the other night, don't you remember?
I'm terribly sorry, dear. It must have slipped my mind.
How you haven't yet been presented a prize for Husband of the Year is beyond me.
There's still time for you to get ready if you hurry.
Ich würde viel lieber mit dir zu Hause einen ruhigen Abend verbringen. Können wir es vielleicht verlegen? Ach komm
Why
hier.
don't we spend a nice quiet evening in together? I'd much prefer that.
We've had a quiet evening in every night for the past 3 weeks. I need to get out of the house.
Then go ahead without me. Please give Anne and Joseph my regrets.
So you're just going to sit here at home by yourself?
I'll probably just catch up on my reading or try and get some sleep. Maybe I'll get around to reading that story in Brentwell's.
All right, suit yourself. I shouldn't be home too late, but don't wait up.
Have a wonderful time, my love.
Alone at last.
If only I were.
Careful what you wish for, Miles. You just might get it.
Seeing as I won't, I think another trip to the Angels in order.
Oh, you're gonna break your word in addition to lying? That's bold.
Nonsense. I'll be home in no time. It'll just be a quick drink to calm my nerves and get you out of my hair.
I think I need a machete for that thing.
Very funny.
Trink nicht so viel.
So, that last case was really something. Classic example of murder for money. Such a shame. Perhaps with Roger in jail, Miss Lathan's riches will go to a more worthy cause, like feeding the poor. You're not listening to me, are you? Oh, right, you've had 2 drinks already. Fine, I'll just see myself out.
Copper for your thoughts, Miles?
Oh, I was just thinking about a story I read tonight in Brentwell magazine. It's called The Dissembling Mechanism. Are you familiar with it?
Afraid not. Brentwell isn't really my type of magazine.
It isn't mine either, but my wife suggested I read it, and it struck a bit of a chord.
Go on then. What's it about?
Da gibt's diesen Erfinder, einer der begabtesten seiner Zeit. Da gibt's diese Erfinderin, nehmende Frau.
The story concerns an inventor, a woman who's the greatest mind of the modern age. In this story, ethericity's been discovered, and the inventor understands and uses it in her work.
Ah, one of those fantastic speculative stories.
Anyway, this inventor spends her time creating mechanical wonders, the likes of which the world has never seen.
Oh, Englisch. One day the inventor's son dies. The inventor's brother dies. The inventor's Das ist das Gleiche hier.
The inventor has a husband whom she loves dearly. One day, he meets a tragic end in a carriage accident.
Das war der
The
Son.
inventor is devastated.
All too common in these types of stories.
Yes, well, as I mentioned before, the inventor is the greatest mind of the modern age. She spends weeks researching a way to bring him back. She toils for hours, forgetting to eat, neglecting her duties, forgetting her friends. Finally, she finds a way to repair his broken body with mechanical implants. Once that's done, she harnesses the power of ethericity and revives him from death.
Why would she go and do something like that?
Von Schuldgefühlen getrieben, von ihrer Liebe getrieben, von ihrem Leiden getrieben.
Because the inventor's obsession was fueled by love. She cared so much for her lost loved one that she vowed to do everything in her power to save them from death. Unfortunately, things don't go well. The inventor brings her husband back, and at first he's confused, wild. With time and patience, she tries to ease him back into the world of the living. But gradually, she comes to realize that this person she's brought back isn't her husband. Not as he was, anyway. When she understands what she's done, she flies into a fit of madness, and she kills both her creation and herself.
How tragic.
She also leaves behind a note which closes off the story. I can still recall the exact words. This dissembling mechanism hath not the vital breath of he whom I loved. It is not him. I have formed but a vain, mocking shadow of what is forever lost.
That's one hell of a story, Miles.
As I said, it resonated with me quite deeply.
Same here. I can tell you, I'm glad that ethericity crap hasn't been discovered, or else this sort of thing won't just be in stories. You mark my words.
Yes, I suppose that's one way of interpreting it. I should probably be getting home.
One last gin for the road?
Nein.
Ah, hell, why not?
Oh.
It's later than I thought. Addie must be asleep.
Miles, I thought you said you were staying in tonight. What happened to you?
Nothing. I went out for a bit and lost track of time.
Miles, you're dead drunk.
No, of course I'm not.
Don't you dare keep lying to me, Miles. It's obvious. I can smell it on you.
But I'm not drunk. I only had 2, I think.
I don't care how many you had. You promised me this wouldn't happen again. Where exactly did you go tonight anyway?
I was at the Angel.
The Angel? But why would you go there?
I suppose I was just trying to relive the old days.
So why didn't you tell me you were going?
I don't know.
Miles, this has to stop. First it was that sleep medicine, now you've started to go out drinking yourself into a stupor after you explicitly promised me you wouldn't again. It's clear that you've been keeping something from me and using drugs and drink as a way to avoid dealing with it.
No, really, it's just...
No, Miles. I'm tired of the lies. I heard what you said when I came home from my appointment with Mrs. Lefebvre. God forbid Adelaide ever find out about something. I wanted to think I'd imagined it, so I let it go. But I've come to realize just how wrong I was.
Addie, please.
Enough. No more excuses, no more lying. I just want to hear the truth. What is it you're not telling me?
I can't tell you, Addie. I'm sorry, but if I do, you'll think I'm crazy.
Do you know what I think is crazy, Miles? The fact that you think it necessary to lie to your own wife. Am I to believe that for all these years you've never felt you could trust me?
Of course not. It's just that this is different.
A lie is a lie, Miles. And the bottom fact is you've been lying to me for months. Perhaps I was too naive or too distracted to see what was really going on, but you finally opened my eyes. This can't go on. I refuse to let it go on.
What are you saying?
Get out, Miles, and don't come back until you're ready to tell me the truth.
Addie, you don't mean that.
I do mean it, Miles. I don't care where you spend the night, but it's not going to be here. If you ever decide you want to tell me what's going on, I'll listen. But until then, just go.
Ach, Miles.
Take me away from all my troubles. So far away from all the worries in my life. Who in the ether is calling at this time of night? Oh, Miles! Please come in. It's so nice to see you outside of work.
Aww.
Oh, I get a hug and a kiss? Is that how it works now?
You put up your rough and tough attitude, but I know deep down you're really a kitten.
Die ist besoffen.
Upton, are you drunk?
No, of course not. I admit I like to have a glass of wine or 6 to unwind after work, but I can hold my own.
Well, I'm glad you're not, because I am.
Wait, what's going on? Is everything all right?
No, I'm afraid I've made a mess of things at home. Addie threw me out.
Oh, Miles. I'm terribly sorry to hear that.
Not as sorry as I am, believe me.
What happened?
It's really not worth getting into. Let's just say I need to figure some things out about my life.
Don't we all?
Constance, I hate to impose, but...
Of course you can stay here, Miles, as long as you need to.
Thank you. I won't need much space. That chair in the corner should do nicely.
Are you sure? You won't be uncomfortable?
I've slept in worse places, believe me.
All right. Well, I should probably be getting to bed. Early morning tomorrow and all that.
Of course. Have a good night, Upton, and thank you again for letting me stay.
Not a problem. Good night.
Eine Woche danach.
Election night. The perfect opportunity to switch out one rich swindler for another. Don't know why you're wasting your time. It's not as though the Prime Minister actually does anything. It's oddly quiet in here. Maybe my mustache drawing campaign had an effect after all.
Good evening, sir. Are you registered to vote?
Yes, I am. Here's my registration card.
Very good, Mr. Fordham. You've come at an excellent time. Go ahead and step inside a booth. Take as long as you need.
Thank you, young man.
Ja, lange Folge, aber die war es definitiv wert. Ach Mensch, der Miles, tut mir leid, aber ich verstehe seine Frau und ich glaube, das Geheimnis ist ja wirklich Bill. Kann man es verraten? Kann man es nicht verraten? Ich weiß es nicht. Ich glaube, seine Frau würde es verstehen. Ich bin mir ziemlich sicher, dass sie es verstehen würde. Aber er versteht es nicht, dass sie es verstehen würde. Zumindest er würde es nicht verstehen in ihrer Situation, wenn er es ihr erzählen würde. Ne? Ja, wir machen hier ein Folgenpäuschen. Vielen Dank fürs Zusehen und bis zur nächsten Folge. Euer Firefox.